Because the weather is looking so great, I nearly confused the time for morning time. But hey, anyway, Mr. Desmond Lunga is here in the building. Welcome back to Gabz FM. Rara, how are you?
Thank you very much, Dola. I'm good, man. The weather is great, and we're celebrating November, so it's the month, officially month of men's health.
So what does it mean? We're not cutting or shaving, or we're going...
If usually you keep a beard, you cut it.
Yeah.
If you don't keep a beard, you keep a beard.
But some of us are from Moleps, you know. So
beard, you struggle to keep it.
But I can't get scattered thunder showers. We're gonna kickstart with episode 4. Tell us about this episode.
Yes, so episode 4, we're going to be talking about masculinities. You know, because it's men's health, and we feel a lot of influence, young men come from around issues of men's masculinities. So we've brought a guest to come and talk to us around that.
All right, let's start with the episode.
Hey baby, why am I saying all about things that's in the water?
Hey, sweetheart, hey. I'm
good, like one.
Oh, sure, Rawahayo.
One night, I saw what I would like pink at lunchtime.
Okay.
Honey, I'm home.
Hey, Himayano. I could want to send me this one.
Honey, hello, do about my pen.
Sorry, sir.
Sorry, can I say sorry you are coming home?
You never cease to amaze me. Why could you worry, my pen? Do you hear yourself? Why could you worry, Mr. Gwen? Why could you worry?
You go my sorry, my husband, but I'm not so rule. It's not what you think. As I can say,
shit. Yeah, when I was about to how when I'm about to be I'm done with this nonsense. You disgust me. Cease, my bill. I'm out.
Hey, o ka ria lo ka re ke mosadi. O ka bua ya lo ba simolodi. Ha go dira wena go siamehela akere wena o monna. How many times did I forgive you, Basimulud? Don't even act innocent with me. Ke go itshwaretse ga kae? Araba, ya go potsa.
Oh my God.
Lo gone ska ba nteba yalo. Don't.
Don't provoke me, my girl. I am not abusive. So sabatle go ntira motho ke senyene. Don't turn me into a monster. I need a break. And please, don't call or text. I have to think this through.
Kopa mai tshwarelo tlhara. Kopa re go intshwarela mogatsaka. Ke ngopolo go intshwarela Basimolodi. Re sa bolo nna mo go dingwaga tse di kana. Why o batla go tsamaya? Why are you walking away from this marriage?
O tlhabise ditlhong maipelo le go no tsenya bashianyana mo ntlong nyame. Bye bye maipelo.
I'm sorry, Clara.
Bye bye.
Clara, baby, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, baby, Clara.
The Brothersarise campaign is brought to you by National AIDS and Health Promotion Agency, NAPA.
In partnership with
Bonaso, Men and Voice for Gender Equality, Bofaboneta, Bocape, and Gender Fountain Center.
Yo, so that is...
Yeah, it's episode 4.
That hit a nerve.
It's episode 4.
Only.
Right, ka lunchtime. O goroga.
O re o tsena mo lapeng o le re o itlhela go ntse jalo.
How do you react? Yes, that's episode 4 for you, all right.
Do you think the gentleman reacted accordingly? Is that how we should react?
Yes, I think the gentleman, obviously people react differently, but at least we didn't see any violence.
Yeah.
You know, at least we didn't see any violence. He remained calm. He decided he's moving. And you realize in the conversation how things all of a sudden changed and he was to blame also at one point.
But also, and I couldn't help but also hear the woman side. Ke go itshwaretse ga kae wena go siame ke go iretse phoso moratu ya go siame e ntshwarele mme wena go siame ha wena o dira jang.
You see, now that's where we as men need to reflect and say longoro wa sidira ha motho mo sidira mo go wena go nna jang.
Welcome to yet another episode of Iconic Men on Gabz FM, power to engage your world. And this marks Movember, where we're focusing on men's health and not just physical, but emotional, mental, and social well-being. As usual, joining us from Men and Boys for Gender Equality is Desmond Lunga, who is the team leader at Men and Boys. Des?
Thank you very much, Dola, and good afternoon to all our listeners. I have the pleasure of introducing our guest for today, Re J Mathiba. Ka Friday ne ke le ko Buang, and we're having conversations with the boy child ko Buang, and Moruti stood up and spoke to the boys, and I felt we needed him to be on the show this week, especially because we're starting the month of men, Movember. So Moruti Mathiba, welcome.
Moruti.
Thank you, sir. Good morning to all of you and to your listeners. Thank you for having me.
Yes, maybe introduce yourself so that you can do justice. Introducer, Sentle Moruti Akereke. I know you're also an academic person. Maybe give us a brief background about yourself.
My name is White Joseph Mathiba. I'm a pastor at Hillview Church. So that's what I am doing now. I am a former lecturer in personal management and consultant in the area of personal management and personal finance. So that's what but I think more primarily now I'm a church boy, but I still do consult.
When I posted this flyer, the amount of people that got to me and said, I know that man, well deserved. Moruti is doing an amazing job. And I knew we needed to have.
I've seen Muruti's face. I don't know from where, but also I don't know if I'm wrong, right, to say. It makes sense.
It's very nice because even during his conversation he talked about personal branding and the look that you present. So I can't wait. Moruti, maybe introduce the topic of the day today and give us a brief background on it.
Thank you for laying the foundation. We met when we were talking to young men, and I think I was invited there, and I decided to talk on spheres of masculine improvement. Now that's I think it's a small subtopic that we do, but I think it's very relevant. I thought it could help the boys. The idea was, what will be their take home? But I think at a very broad level, so that we can land well, we talk masculine improvement because of a very strong theoretical base. Personal change. It's key to talking about masculinity. We need to see it from the perspective of anything that we want men to do or to become can never be forced on them. So the best approach is to use an approach that appeals to them, that sells the positive change to them, that they can initiate. Because I think all models would suggest that anything you want to drive around behavioral change is easier if it starts with the individual involved willing to do so. So my approach we have two courses that I used to teach. One is maximum manhood and another one is personal change. Is that whenever you want to drive change, you need to start by helping the individual to buy into the process of change. And I think given the current landscape of GBV, I think most of the time we are dealing with the symptoms rather than the problem. I think the problem is what generates GBV, and GBV is an outcome. And for us to be able to tackle that problem much more better is how do we sell change to a boy child and to a man, a change that he can buy into it and begin to drive it on his own, rona tiro a rena benna go mo thusa gore nya go change yana, you make yourself this way. So spheres of masculine improvement are based on one premise, that every man has the capacity to become better.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let's look at the first sphere, Muruti. The first sphere would look at what?
The first sphere would look at image.
Yeah,
that every man has the capacity to improve their image. Image plays a very vital role in your self-concept, in your self-esteem. So when you decide as a man, simple things, ke shave sente, ke cut at the right time, so that improves your self-esteem. And let's remember the psychology that is based on your self-concept, how you understand yourself, self-esteem, and how you feel about yourself. Now, these two things would give very strong dividends regarding your perspective and your perception of things that comes towards you and your outlook of life. When those things change, you have changed a big part of you and how you react to things. So it looks simple when we say, when you improve your value about yourself, you are going to want that value to be represented in how you react to things that are happening in your life.
Thank you, Muruti.
I'm sorry, it is image everything, because for example, koro o khona go utla Redesmond Lunga hetahale a le sekolo a tlhapile a dirile tsotle regarding image. Mongwe ba morar he o itse re me ga a tshwanne ke go betsa mosadi. Is image everything?
No, image is not everything, but image is a low-hanging fruit for change. Yeah, okay. It's a low-hanging fruit. What we want to do is to build a man who has value and who would want to have that value represented in all that we do. And most of the time, not all the time, it can be an issue. There are those who pass the image test and still look so good, but their internal image about themselves, which is a key issue, do not represent the outward value or look that you see. But I think as a little improvement, starts where, so the rule of change, of behavioral change, is low-hanging fruit. It's based on something called the S-curve model, that you need to find things that are easier to change and then change them and then go for those that are slightly difficult, slowly but surely. But I think when we start at the end, which is what we are concerned about, which is where GBV, we don't win, because most people would not want to accept that they have challenges relating to reacting to emotional issues and so forth until they fall there.
I like how you've talked about the low-hanging fruits to say, let's just start with image, basic, and also just looking at yourself in the mirror. Because a lot of times as men, we don't pay attention to how we look, but our look influences the issue of self-love, and self-love comes with the care work that you do on yourself. Maybe let's look at the second one, Muruti.
Yeah, so the second one is based on behavioral change. So first this image then. So if you want to improve your life as a man, one of the key ways is to do a very strong objective assessment of your behavior. And at a very easier level, we're talking about how you interact and react to things, how you interact with your environment, how you interact with other people, and be objective about yourself. It's a very personal choice to say, OJ, what are some of my weaknesses and bad habits that I need to work on and improve? So if any man can, on their own, not under the pressure from their wives, their girlfriends, and so forth, make a decision to do a very objective self-assessment of who they are and who they want to be, and say, you know what, I want to improve this thing this year.
I wonder if my wife is listening.
We'll get a recording if not.
Because we've always had this issue where she points out my weaknesses. And I'm always saying to her, I acknowledge my weaknesses, but give me time to work on them. And I feel I need to own that process of changing those. Because once I own that process, then I'll be able to change them for good. But I wouldn't want to just change them because my wife does not like.
Yeah. I think we need to increase our appetite for getting feedback from the people who love us,
because it's not always the greatest. When somebody tells you, we're now wrong hand, it doesn't feel nice.
But it's easier when change starts with you. When you say, I want to work on this. I want to arrive home early. It's just a very small improvement.
Not ako notla early.
Yes. Yeah, because, and also how it is being given.
Yeah.
Then you reject it, and you know the inverse takes place. You want to make sure that you demonstrate, and that's a problem with the masculine nature. When you are given a certain feedback that you don't hold on to, now and that's a misconception. In the effort to try to maintain your ego, you want to maintain your habit that somebody does not like, to maintain your strength. So that's a wrong way of doing it.
True.
But the key thing under behavioral change is we can all identify areas where we want to change, not for somebody else, for ourselves, so that you become a better man in your own world. You would see that one of the competing edges today, which is I don't know whether this is the right thing to say here, is that if you see the girl child is so confident, he's very vibrant in how they express themselves, both the young girls and the women. They are very confident about who they are and the type of attributes that they're able to demonstrate. We need to get men to a place where a man says, I'm a good man. I know how to do good. I know how to control myself. And these are areas where I've improved myself to become who I am. So I think there are various areas where we can improve ourselves.
Very true. So I think for me, it's always a reflection to say, don't do it for other people. Do it for yourself. Because once you do it for yourself, then it becomes a behavior. It becomes something that you own. It becomes not even a habit. Maybe it becomes a way of life, especially around eating well, especially around decision making.
Yeah. So four, I think, primary things that are key in changing your behavior. Number one is your choices. I think if there's anything that I think is key to help men with, is helping the male man to make choices.
Yeah.
How do you make your choices around how you run your family? How do you make choices around how you manage your money? How do you make choices around how you appear? How do you make choices around how you handle conflict? Because if you don't have premeditated pulses of how you respond to conflict, you are likely to respond in a manner that do not represent you as an individual.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Remember, you can be a part of our conversation, +267 395 6962. We've got a voice note, shall we?
Sure.
Check it out.
Hello, Gabz FM. I think these initiatives and agendas towards gender-based violence, they're not helping, because what we are doing, especially in Botswana, I think we are afraid to tackle issues head on. We are afraid of facing women. Even on radio, even TV, social platforms, you see. Yeah, so we are The insistence Yarona is on teaching responsibility and discipline to men, but we are not doing the same to women. We are not teaching them responsibility. We are not teaching them their duties in a family setup, in a marriage, or in a relationship. We are always insisting that men should do this. So whenever a speaker comes there, Moredu, I have learned over months, and every month in a month of women something. So I have learned, but never took responsibility. But never took the rights. Men never took responsibility. Now the women deserve this, they want this, so there is never a conversation about responsibility of women. And if we are hoping to resolve this issue of GBV, we are not going to win it, because on the other hand, we teach a man values, any other values besides money, but when we interact with women, they mostly need money, you see. So no one is teaching them the other values, that women should be responsible for this, you should look out for this, values 1, 2, 3, because no one is teaching them anyways. So I don't think this issue of GBV, we should be touching on it in the way we are touching on it on radio. If really we want to solve it, we are not going to solve it, please. Yes. So I feel like women should be taught responsibility, duties, and about other values beside the value of money. So men are the only people who are taught other values, discipline, character, and other good virtuous values besides money. But they meet people who want money. So it's a conundrum. Yes.
Thanks for your voice note. Comment, Murut?
No, I think it's a fair comment. I think it's a very fair comment. Where I stand is, I think, if we look at statistics and what research is telling us, the girl child is far ahead of the boy child. Women, in terms of their aptitude to deal with their issues, they are far ahead of us. Mm-hmm. I think I really buy into the idea that maybe we need to teach women more responsibility. I agree with that. I think that's good feedback. But I think if I go back, and I don't know whether, if I go back, I think part of the problem that came with this issue is we have never addressed, in my own opinion, the crack that is in a man's life. When there was a crack, if you go back to, feminism, development and masculinity, when it begins to become negative, there was a crack in the way in which the man handles himself. And that was affecting the women negatively. But I think the whole world got it so wrong. Instead of fixing the guy who has the crack, then the world went a wrong way and say, how do we equip the one who is being affected by the one who have the crack? So a lot of initiative then went towards empowering women and ensuring that women can stand against this guy who has the crack. But guess what? The women are now empowered. The women now know what they want. And the man is still having the same crack. And I think we need initiatives that seeks to help the men to deal with the crack. Otherwise, it's more like you are dealing with using an old software in a machine that is so much updated to run on a very different level. And therefore, the man always fails to adapt. And I'm not saying women are doing all things right. Yeah, please, that's not my position.
Let's take a quick caller. Askis Gabz FM, you're live. Hi.
Hello, Dumela Dola, Libayen Bagago.
Baba Kampora, Dumedisa, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, we took a kibata Kulebham Simani o Hitilenka Kamolaeta. Upuile Mafuku, Abu Kiti, Upuile Mafuku, Atsilang, Unkuche Dola. Kadena Gotan Nakabwisana Lim Tuame. Hari akudumelana kutswa ho kura khabule kwa kilinteng o ile a tsoga sepuku nkare ke sepuku ka gore nna ke sa mobone mme hela hari hai umbatla madi hari hai umbatla madi wa nkutwa o re kareng isene madi a manyenyana mbatla madi la nthana ke moinela ke re a kungwe re tatselela ka botsalano bo botshila. Me, I couldn't see her. So I end up getting this out in here. You are a ghost, so I can't live with a ghost. Hey, so really, this young man is an boy. Sometimes you know kukhatelelwa kuri munna itshware sentle munna bona gore ba ira ene kontle ka ha batho never.
Thank you, Baba.
Ngiyabonga.
Listen, we're going to go for the news. We will continue the conversation on the other side of the news with Tebogo Mokoto. Remember, this is Iconic Man. It happens Mondays from 12:30 on Iconic. Welcome back to Iconic. This is the second hour on Gabz FM. Power to engage your world. My name is Dollar Mac, and thank you so much for joining us. Remember, we are joined by Red Desmond Lunga from Men and Boys for Gender Equality. We're also with Mruti J Mathiba, who is joining us for this November. Remember, we are focusing on men's health, not just physical, but emotional, mental, and social well-being. Back to you, Des.
Thank you very much. Muruti, let's say the two you're talking about behavioral change. And I know we had listened to a voice note, and I always say to men, we agree that there is need to balance the education and socialization. You cannot only educate the boy child, the girl child. You cannot not only empower the woman and leave out the man. So we strike a balance so that we are able to have a generation of people that will be able to live together. So definitely we have noted your comments, and we agree to say we need to balance the scale. Moruti, let's look at the third sphere.
Yeah, I think the third sphere of improvement is functional competencies. Functional competencies deals with abilities that are learned, that I think as guys, as boys and men can learn. I think we each to be able to say, what are some of the competencies that are essential for my life as a pastor, as a producer, as a guy, as a politician, and so forth. I think part of the problem, as you see today, even in terms of the statistics within the education sector, you see how women are becoming more learned. And I'm not I'm a firm believer that both the male and the female should improve themselves to become better.
True.
Yeah.
True.
And we are not trying to point a finger, but we are saying all of us should work on things that should make us better.
True.
But the point of competency, functional competency, deals with, as an individual, what are some of the things that I need to learn that can make me better? I think we need to define competency here as a learned skill.
True.
Yeah, other than a talent that we are born with. As men, there are certain zones of life where life would throw us into, that the only thing that can redeem us and save us and help us to navigate such terrain is skills.
True.
So you need to be asking yourself, how do I develop skills that can help me to become better? First, at home. Second, at work. Third, in my interpersonal skills with other people, including, some things we are not born with them. When we are talking with the boys, we're talking about how we need to improve the art of love, and how, as much as we are born with natural ability to be able to have sex, we are not born with a natural ability of how to love. The process of loving entails learning how to care and live with other people. And those are practical skills that needs to be learned to improve where we are. Yeah. Okay.
And I always like to use an example, discipline. As men, the famous ATI once said, parents do not learn how to become good parents. Children do not learn how to become good children. And I always challenge men to say, we need to learn also the element of how to discipline without necessarily using corporal punishment. How to have conversations. So I think learning is one thing that as men, we need to start being aware of and being able to start learning. Like in the radio drama that we're listening to, this man was not violent. So to a certain way, he has learned how to deal with his emotions.
How to react to pressure.
To pressure.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah. How to react to pressure. Including emotional intelligence is a skill.
Yes.
Yeah. How do I manage my own emotions? And how do I not allow other people's emotion and perspective and perception of me and of life to influence me to react towards things? These are simple soft skills, but I can tell you they play a very huge role when you are in crisis. That have you learned on how to hold yourself when you are angry? Yeah. Have you learned on how to speak when you have been violated? Because life would throw you into sectors and situations where you have never thought you could be. But I think it is at that time where such skills become so resourceful to you. Part of the conflicts today, if you get into the counseling room, comes from how, couple speaks to each other. And then poison to car poison is creating a build up. And then one day, and this is where I say, as men, we need to be able to say, how do we create skills of surviving hurt and pain and venting out without necessarily killing the other person and being violent? So you need to learn a practical skill of saying, how do I deal with emotions that are so heavy on me? Do I talk to a friend? Who do I call? Who do I talk to that can help me deal with this particular situation that I'm dealing with?
Okay, let's look at the fourth one.
So the fourth one has to do with an asset base. Yeah, one of the ways in which you can improve your life as a man is to increase your asset base. Your asset base refers to the assets that you are creating, your financial growth, your financial prudence, and being able to get a certain level of wealth requisite to help you survive and drive towards your dreams. Part of what we are seeing is how we are still pursuing wealth and financial prudence in the traditional way. And the problem with that is we seek to own but not to retain. Yeah, and then a lot of things pass. And then you find a man eventually who is in a position where they are crying for what they once had, because there was no strategy of keeping. There was just a strategy of access. So as men, gore ha go batle gore o le monna e be le tshwana le go itela le frustration e ka ya dilo tse dingwe tsa botshelo, or if it is not frustration, it's the responsibilities that are also coming on you. Now, improving how we manage our income, how we manage our money, and kahare bechankati. That's a very important process. So if you don't regulate how you are going to be managing your money, including all your responsibilities, then you are going to have a headache. And if we create a culture of not selling love but reseller becha, then eventually we're going to be at a place where we are under a lot of pressure to maintain relationships that we do not need and that are not functional for us because we are trying to maintain them with money.
Yeah, Muruti, I would definitely invite you again to the studio for us to really break it down, because I think it's the foundation of a lot of GBV. How and money management and our relationships with women, and like you rightfully said, how people have now cultured or socialized. So I think that one we can come and address. Let's quickly look at the last one, which is the fifth one.
So the last one is spirituality. Yeah, I think every man needs God in his life, and the role of God is to help you in life. Throws you into situations where you don't have options of what to do. Yeah, you know, as men, we are male authorities, but we always need somebody who is higher than us, somebody who can speak sense to us when we don't know what to do. So I think the last important area of improvement is improving your spirituality as a man. And this, I think as a pastor, I encourage people to go to church, but I think it starts at a basic level. In your house, you and your God being able to have time. You know, read the Bible, find some wisdom in it, find certain things that helps you to improve what you don't understand in life, because spirituality deals with how do we respond to, you know, a lot of mystery that sometimes happens to us, and who do we appeal situations and cases that we don't understand.
And a lot of men are not in the churches, Moruti, and I think it's a really a big concern. And you know, sometimes we find ourselves hopeless, and I always say maybe that's the reason why we find the suicide is already because people don't realize that there's some way to run to if things get difficult, and taking your life should not be one of those options that you have.
I think as pastors, one of the things that we are concerned about is the absence of men in the church. And you know, part of the problem, so that's why we are also having the problem of the other pastors who are, you know, manipulating women in the church, because men are not there.
They are not in the church.
So if you are a man and you are sending your kids and your wife to the church, and you have never stepped into the place and wondered, who is this guy, who are these people that are influencing the direction of the life of my kids? At least show up and check what is happening there.
Let's take a caller. Gabz FM, you're live. Hi.
Good day, sir.
Re teng go nne ra go amogela mosoro mangwe.
Nya me ke ntse ke reditse ke le ke re ke a kgelela gore tota di gantse di ntseng yana gantsi that have to do with GBV. Nna gantsi ke akanya gore gongwe first of all, before re tsena ko kganyeng ya gender, gongwe re lebelele dilo pele ra addressa motho before re ka addressa motho wa mme kana re ka addressa motho wa rre kana re ka addressa ngwana wa mosimane kana ngwana wa mosetsana because se ke se itemogetseng ga ke ntse ke tshela mo botshelo le ke ruta batho ke gore kana gantsi motho modimo dila le motho not so much le monna kana le motho wa mme kana le ngwana mosimane kana wa mosetsana jaanong gongwe ga re ka ya pele ko gore re rute batho gore kana o motho le ga ba dirisanya monna a dirisanya le motho wa mme a dirisanye le ene on the base ya motho a ka dirisanya le ene on the base ya gore ke monna o motho wa mme. I think that's where dilo gantsi di senyegang teng mme ga re ka boela gone go morago ke tsa gore gongwe go ka re thusa hela thata.
Thank you, Khonne.
Thank you, sir.
Gabz FM. Gabz FM, you're live. All right, we lost that one. So, if I hear our caller simply, a rarebe legenda kakana, resimo from a point, ya say to ya gore, umutu, kimutu. Ariane, Gabz FM, you're live. Hi.
Good morning, Legay. I think on a dollar. I think they are very influential people. Gore se mo se khonagale one go batla mo curriculum ya dikolo tsa Botswana go ediwe my go ruta ka mindfulness ana baruti ba moruti o khabudisa ka gone nna se dirisole go kala mindfulness kana ke go itemoga ha o leng teng go go dira eng but he used the local la gore o khone go ka control your emotions. I think bontsi ja batho re palelwa ke go tshwara maikutlo a rona rotlhe so yaanong ha batho ka dira gore mo bonyeneng ja rona go rutiwe ka gone motho gore a ka itemoga ka tsela e ntseng jang from the youngest age wa go gola ka gone go tle banna le basadi ra go gola ka gone go goleng ga rona ka gone ra go lemoga gore so se ene gore se re tlhakatlhakanyetsa matshelo gona gampe kwana ha o kopana o le monna le mosadi le kopana ke attachment le gona go ratana o le monna le mosadi go sa nne le attachment. It's possible.
Thank you so much.
Mo go ka kgonagala hela go ka rutiwa mindfulness kana ke gore o itemoga o kgone gore ha o le gore o hupetse dollar o ba kgona go tsa some seconds o breathe trying to arrest the situation. Ke tsa gore baruti ba taele mo gale Desmond le wena dollar speak about it and di mo dio tsene mo re ka di khona ga nke gore batho ga ba ruti wena go thata gore ha o se tsole mo di mo ntsene gore mo go tsone o bo gore o ka ithuta sene gore ga o se itse ga wa thewa ka sone. Thank you guys.
Thanks for your call. O kila bona ha gongwe o jampile e be gore o gore o bo gore o tsahalo go khula off o relaxa it's the conversation or the situation will come back differently than go simolla wa akanya hela gone ho bo tsa ditshwetso ka bonako.
And that's a skill to say this is my personality. When I'm angry I know kana ka mena face kana kare so I can see that this conversation is getting heated, let me walk out, cool down and come back fresh. So if you are conscious or to use the word you are mindful of yourself and your weakness and your shortcomings and how you react to pressure, then you do it in such a way that it works for you rather than working against you.
We are really out of time, but someone also mentioned separate gender out of this.
Yeah. I think that's a strong position. At the basic of it, we are talking about human beings. But I think now where I stand is improvement is on both sexes. If women can work on making themselves the best versions of themselves, and men can work on making themselves the best versions of themselves, then we are likely to have a place where it's easier to deal with other. And I think with this solo kolagor mutho ke motho a modimo le nna ke motho a modimo. Yeah, so hare bona motho, and you are seeing the image of God and you want to respect that person and that person also respect you, we can go far.
Borra, I love where these conversations always take us, but unfortunately nako ke maba are garele.
Thank you very much, Dola, and thank you for all the people that called in, sent the voice notes, and sent their text. And would encourage us to continue this conversation on social media. The pages of Brothers Arise, and also on the Men and Boys for Gender Equality page, we are also available. Moruti, it has been a pleasure. I've enjoyed these conversations, and I hope we are able to continue to invite you here, but also continue to impact the world through the conversations that we're having. Now, this Friday, I'm going to be at UB, also talking to Banababa Simane.
Moruti, thank you so much for taking our whole hour. Legamoso, final words.
Yeah, no, final words would be, I think each person, irrespective of gender, you always have an opportunity to make your life much more better. Yeah, and I think Rona at Hillview Church, when we are presenting the gospel, we present the gospel as an opportunity for you to make your life better with God. And I think it happens in every area of your life. So I think all men have the capacity to become better.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Power to engage your world is on